What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Friends of Mortgage Heroes. I'm Brian.
And I'm Will.
And today we're joined by a powerhouse of a woman. Our guest was recently featured on Entreprenuer and Buzzfeed, a top 1% producer here in San Diego. And she's the leader of one of the biggest real estate teams in California, the Dean Aguilar Group. And to top it off, she's a co-founder of 4 successful businesses. Very, very excited and humbled to bring today's guest, Afroditi Aguilar.
Yeah.
Hey.
I'm super excited, you guys. I'm telling you, I just got the chills with that. What an intro.
What an intro, bro. That energy. I'm like, I thought I talked fast and loud. Woo! Bring it.
But you know, Diti, I call you Diti.
Of
Everybody
course,
else is going to call you Aphrodite because they have to.
Yeah.
Right? I'm going to call you Diti because I get the privilege of having that. I've known you
course.
so many years. But anyhow, I am just so grateful to have you here. And I wanted you to be a part of this because you're such an inspiration. You and the hubby and, you know, your handsome boy, you guys are just such an inspiration. You guys are always giving back to the community. And that's what Mortgage Heroes is all about. We're always here to try to figure out how we give back to the community.
100%.
You know?
100%.
And so you're running. Who's Diti today? Like, I know I met you years ago, 12 years ago. And so here we are, fast forward, like, you're so different. Who are you now?
I'm so tired. No, I'm just kidding. Bro, I'm not going to lie. No, I have. It's funny that you say that because I was just talking about that recently with the team. I've grown in this industry for the past 10 years.
Yeah.
Next year is 10 years. Next year is my 10-year
Unbelievable.
anniversary. Licensed for 10 years. It's bananas to see like how much growth comes from it. I'm a completely different person than I was day one. Day one, I knew nothing about the industry. I knew nothing about how any of this worked. And I've just figured it out over the past 10 years. I guess I've figured it out and like completely different night and day than I was before.
That's awesome. And it's been so easy, right? It's been easy.
For me, it's been like just learning. I'm not going to say easy. There's been a lot of learning, but I think more than easy, it's just been like the fact that I was open to learning all of it.
Yeah.
That was the biggest thing. And knowing like how to adapt with different markets and how to adapt with what's happening. Like that's the biggest thing, being able to adapt.
That's awesome. I like that you put that.
I appreciate that you said you've been learning.
Always.
And some people would say it's hard. But your perspective looks at it like, no, this is a learning experience. It's going to make me better. So when was it that you said, yo, this is what I'm made for? Yo, Diti is real estate. Like I need to go 100% in.
Okay, I'll tell you a funny story.
Please.
So my second transaction ever, when I first started in real estate, you know, you start and you're like, okay, I'm supposed to be prim and proper and this is real estate and I have to wear like guys, suit and ties, girls, like you don't need to wear stilettos. But my second transaction ever, I had met an agent who's one of my best friends in San Diego now. And he had told me, he was like, I remember the conversation. He was like, I really want to work with you because the other person I'm talking to is being a douche.
Yeah.
So like, I was like, really? So this is all it is? I have to be super cool and be my normal self to be able to win in this business? Awesome. Let's go.
Yeah.
That was the day. That was the transaction. And that was the one that set it over where I was like, I don't have to be anybody that I'm not. I can be my authentic true self. Funny, goofy, loud, like obnoxious, whatever I am, like I can be all those things and be successful in this business and not have to fake it to make it. So.
That's
Super
what, like
dope. Growing
growing up, my parents would always say, be yourself, and you think that's so cliche, like I gotta be myself. When I started, growing in this industry, so I realized the more that I wasn't me, the less I'd get away from, attracting the right people, the right clients. And then when I would dabble into truly just showing who I was, it's like a whole bunch of people would attract towards you because they see the genuinity in you.
Yeah.
The genuineness.
Genuineness?
Yeah.
But basically, they know that you're not faking it. And that's the biggest thing that I've learned in this industry, that if you're real, you're honest, people are going to respect that, even if you're not the best, even if you don't know everything, but they really see that you're a real person.
Be your true self.
Yeah.
Like that's 100%. Like, and you're, like you said, you'll attract.
Yeah.
I attract clients all the time that are just like me. Like I have people, I've done full transactions. You've done the other side of them where we only communicate in memes. And that's cool because that's how we roll.
Yeah.
Like through the whole thing, but that's how we roll. And being able to attract people like that, we've been able to attract team members like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So building our team out, that's been massive.
So that's been like literally like the pivotal point for everything. How did you guys start constructing the team? I mean, bring us back to like the beginning stages. How did you guys start? I mean, it was Dean, then Afro, or how did the whole dynamics come about?
So Dean started everything back when we got down to San Diego. Again, he's been in the industry forever. So he had it. We had brought on he started to overly generate. I mean, I can tell you the whole story behind it. Like, let me just do it. I got time.
Why not?
So there was an open house. Like when we first moved here, we didn't know very many people. We only had like a couple of friends that lived around here. So Dean knew that the only way he was going to make money was like open houses. He was like, I don't have a sphere of influence. Let me just do open. So we did one open house. And we always say, and he always says, you only need one from an open house. So
Yeah.
he had worked this. I had worked that open house as his door girl because I would just got the idea that I was going to come into the industry, and I was working his door for him, like not knowing anything, in a pencil skirt and heels, uncomfortable with an iPad trying to take people's names. And he was busy. He got this one lead that came in at the very end. I had already left to go to my regular job. He had one lead that came in at the very, very end. And she pulled up. He was closing down. He's like, you know what? Let me let her in. She comes in. They have to sell their house down the street, which is in Playmore, which is up in Rancho Bernardo. They have to sell that one. They wanted to buy another house. It was like an $800,000 house in Rancho Bernardo, which nowadays is like
what's that?
1.5.
Yeah, what's that equity
easy,
now?
like 1.5, 1.6,
Yeah.
easy. So sold that one, bought this one. Ended up, her mom was the HOA president. Ended up having a farm there and picking up like 5 or 6.
Wow.
Took all that money, put it into Zillow. Then we were able to build out and grow. He got Cece, who was our ISA.
I remember Cece.
Cece's still
De los
around.
Reyes.
She's our ISA. She lives in the Philippines, and she's been with us for like 13 years.
Yeah.
She, we bought on myself, one other buyer's agent, and then just built it from there. We made mistakes though, so I got to tell you, I love to tell this story because like people are like, "Oh, you did it so easy."
I know. That's why I was being so sarcastic in the beginning. It's so easy, right?
No, it is not easy. Like we made so many mistakes. We grew so big, and we had the wrong people in the team because it wasn't fun for us.
Yeah.
It wasn't joyful. Like there was a moment where we were like, what do we do? Do we go back to like just, dude, I'll be the breadwinner. Let me just go back. I'll work. You work the deals. And then we'll just get an assistant for me, and that's it. And then like we had this like moment, and we were like, no, we just got to get the right people. So we scaled it down and then rebuilt with the attitude that we just talked about is it has to be the right person and the right fit. The person who's open and, you know, who's open to learning, open to coaching, has no ego, is willing to like trust in us. And literally we tell people on our team, I love you constantly. Like we love our team, like our family. I see them more than I see Xavier sometimes. So that was like the biggest turning point for us was just like learning along the way, getting big, going small, getting big again. And since then we've got it right now. Like I feel like we have it truly right.
You know, I like that you mentioned Xavier, right? That's your son. Cool kid.
Yeah.
We just talked about that, 10 years old. You know, those are the sacrifices you need to make in life in order to just scale your business, to get to that next level, right?
100%. When you talk about levels, so this is something I coach all the time. And I had heard it, I don't even know where I heard it from. 3 levels in real estate. Your first level, there is no getting around it. You have to hustle.
Yeah.
You have to sacrifice. If you want to be uber successful, if somebody comes in the business and says, I'm going to do this, but I'm still going to have a life, bro, it doesn't happen. If you want to build something massive, you have to be willing to sacrifice in your hustle phase. Then you create your systems phase where your systems work for you. Then you scale through people.
Yeah.
So those are your 3 levels. And like, dude, there's no way to get around it. Like,
there's no way.
you can't. It's going to be hard.
Yeah.
It's going to suck. Like you have to, I always say, people embrace the suck. Like, like you've got to embrace this portion and you have to be willing to sacrifice in the beginning. I sacrificed 6 years to get to the point that I'm able to go here. My last, like I don't produce like I used to.
Yes.
Like not at all. Like I'm not in production like that. I really coach and train. But my last year doing like massive sales, which were 60 transactions in a year.
Yeah.
I like 3/4 of it were referrals from all the work I did before.
Yep.
So it was not like I was out there like grinding to get it.
Correct.
So it was just coming to me at that point. So that's what I work
I'm
now.
glad you bring that up because I know we have a client in mutual, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're not going to say last names, but Eric, first thing that comes to mind, he tried going with another agent. And little, that he know, as soon as I gave him a call, like, hey, what's going on? He's like, I feel so bad. So he dumped that other agent because they just didn't get the right person. You're talking about having the right people in your team, and people matter.
100%.
And so I'm glad now that fast forward, he canceled and 3 weeks later, now you have it in escrow, and he was just here in the office, so excited. And that's the kind of clients that we actually generate, people who appreciate who we are.
100%.
Of who we are, as loud as you are, right? And same here. We're so loud and we connect in emojis, like you're right. But that's the kind of people that attract to us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I love that referral business comes back to us.
100%. If you prove to somebody that you actually care and it's not about a paycheck, that's all you have to do.
Yeah.
Like, actually give a shit about people
Yeah.
on your side.
So
care
simple,
about
huh?
I mean,
Just be a good person.
I say it all the time too, and I'm like, you gotta like just care about people.
Yeah.
Actually truly care about their outcome because
Genuinely.
we are changing people's lives day to day. And like we have an impact and we have an effect on everyone that we come in contact
Exactly.
with, so.
And I'm so glad that you found that on your second deal, right?
I know, right?
That was your second transaction that
Yeah.
becomes memorable, where everything just, oh, damn, the puzzle doesn't have to be that complicated.
My first one was also like, I had no clue what I was doing at all. Dean was my TC and everything. But my first one was impactful too, because my first one was a military member who had never thought he could buy a house before and legitimately cried when I gave him his keys. Teared up and cried. And I was like, wow, I'm doing something really big. Coming from the restaurant business where I'm slinging drinks and like.
And they're like, I need a refill now.
I was like, wait, hold on, what?
People cry for me?
Yeah, I was like, wait a second. I did something really impactful because you don't even realize it until you get that emotion.
Yeah,
from
that's
somebody.
awesome.
It's insane.
Drawing on that emotion, you almost feel like the money doesn't matter, but that in that moment itself, you feel on top of the world because you've done something that, has no monetary value for it. It's just like you feel so good that you want to chase that more and more and more. And that feeling and that, accomplishment also comes, with good paychecks. But if you focus more on that
you
feeling,
focus on the paycheck,
oh my
you're gonna
God.
lose.
Yeah,
Oh,
100%. Once you don't get the number, you're...
No, you focus on the money, you're going to lose in this business, period. You focus on the people, you're going to win every time. And that's team building. That is, because we talk about it all the time, it's people before profits. And that's one of our slogans that we say, people before profits. We will take care of our individual people. I lose money all the time.
Of course.
We've been better this year about it, but I lose money all the time. All the time. And I'm okay with it. I'm okay with losing money if my people are going to be better because it's going to come back to me anyways.
Again, that's why we have the referral business that comes to us. A lot of we don't have to be out there, being that hunter, chasing. They'll come when you're doing the right things,
So back in 2023 on Instagram, you posted, we've always been trainers and head coaches for our family, and we always make sure their skills stay sharp. However, as leaders, we need to stay sharp. We need to make sure that we're constantly and consistently learning and being around people doing it better. How has injecting your guys' self into bigger rooms with bigger people helped you guys, propel in life, business, and just in general?
So massive. It's so massive. There's only so much that we can do alone. And there's only so much that I can learn alone, like by myself, or you can read all the books in the world, but you got to surround yourself with people that are doing it better than you. You have to surround yourself with people that are doing more than you. If I'm surrounding myself with people who are I don't want to say, but not doing as much as I am,
Correct.
I'm never going to be able to strive to that. I always want to be number 2 because I always want to have something to strive for.
Ooh. Nice. I like that.
I never want to be number 1. And the reason is because if I'm number 1, it's too easy to be complacent.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
I never heard it like that. That's actually pretty cool.
Bro,
Thanks for
I'll
sharing
take
it like
number
that.
2. You should see, whenever we have we've never hit a goal, right? I've never hit a goal. The reason I never hit a goal is because even this year, we just changed our goal for the year because we had a target goal for the year, but we're heading so far ahead of it right now. I'm like, no, increase it by 100 because that is your stretch. If you have a goal, let's say you have a goal of 20 deals for a year, and then you hit that goal of you hit 18 in September. What's going to happen the rest of the year? You're like, I only need 2 more deals. I'm not going to do it.
I did it again.
I got my first year in real estate. I said I wanted to do 10 transactions. And then I was like 10 because I don't know anything about real estate. I had 10 in the first 2 months. And then I was like, okay, bump it to 20. So I had 20 by September. I'm like, okay, bump it to 30. I ended up with 28 transactions.
Nice.
But if I would have been comfortable with 10, oh yeah, I hit my goal. It's too easy for people to be complacent. So this helps me. It helps me to be better. It helps me to be better for my team. Sometimes it's systems, sometimes it's processes, but being around smarter people are key. It's so smart.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
So good.
Talking about your network is your
Net worth.
That's it.
100%.
That's it.
100%.
That's awesome. Very good. So, all right. We're closing. You went from your second one, learning, all these things that you learned in life, right? That just kind of changed the whole puzzle, the way you wanted to make things.
Yeah.
Now that you're so far ahead, what's the next learning lesson that you feel is going to really even take you to that next level?
So what are we doing now that I'm learning?
Yeah. That you feel like, damn, this is the new Diti. Before the new Diti wanted to get in real estate, right?
Yeah.
And do the transactional things, meet with clients. You're far from that now. You're coaching. You're talking to other people. You're speaking to the community.
Yeah.
What's next?
I think it's the expansion. So we're now trying to expand. We've already expanded into Inland Empire. So we're slowly kind of building up there. This is our first week, fully up and running up there.
Nice.
But I think the expansion, because it's not as easy as just saying like, hey, pop them in there. You now have to have secondary processes, systems, like it's building. I love to build. Like I've learned it now. Like I like to build. I like back end stuff. Like I like to be able to watch, to build it to something that's like super special, but still have that dag culture to it. Still have that dag flair with it. Like how do we work through it? That's probably the one thing that I'm focusing on right now and that I'm like learning is like how to do this. And I've had to lean on people. Yeah. There's a couple of really big agents who have done this way better than I probably ever will. And I've been leaning on them because I'm like, tell me how you did it. Like, what did you do? Boots on the ground. Yeah. How did you show up? How did you roll it out? How do you hold people accountable? Yeah. I know how I hold people accountable here. Yeah. How do I do it from, miles away. Over Zoom? It's hard sometimes. So it's having the right people who can manage and service and do the things that you need to do for the consumers out there.
I like that. I like that you mentioned earlier on the adaptability with things, right? Those are the things we have to do. Yeah. Now it's Zoom. Right? Before you had to go there, you had to do the ties, you had to wear the stilettos, the heels, whatever it is. Now, there's none of that. Now it's just Zoom, right? And then I know attention span is so little when you're getting to these things, but I know you have to have it up, especially the way you are. You're just so energy. You got to get everybody going. Yeah. When you're in Zoom, do you make everybody get up and do jumping jacks so you can get going? What kind of stuff do you do?
You got to keep everybody engaged. Like I think that's the biggest thing is like if I'm sitting on a Zoom for an hour speaking, no one's going to listen. Yeah. Like no one's going to listen. But if I can engage you, tell me your thoughts. To every person, especially when it comes to our trainings and things like that, every person has their own unique special about them. That's a good way to put it. Their own unique special. That's their thing. So whenever we're doing our trainings, even if it's on Zoom, if you have somebody be like their special and bring their special to it, give their how you hear something and how you hear something may be completely different. Yeah. So getting the feedback of how it hits your ear, because you're different personality types. So how do you have everybody hear it the same? And how do you modify it to do that? So having everybody be themselves and engaged in it, that's it.
That's awesome.
Include them.
Yeah, I like that. You got to include them, right? That's how you build something together where they feel they're putting something into it as well. Like, oh, damn. Aphroditi did implement that. That's actually pretty cool. Yep. It actually inspires others to want to be even more, how can I say it, contribute more to it.
100%.
You know, instead of just listening and just kind of, not doing anything about it, like that's where you really get the action takers.
Now I realize why school didn't work for me. Teachers weren't engaging. They weren't. It's their fault. I wanted to engage. They didn't engage me.
I wasn't a big school person either. Like,
I was right now just thinking about it.
Yeah. You're like, that's it.
That was it.
Yeah, I can't do a lecture. Like, I'll glaze over. It's like, I have ADD. I think all of us successful entrepreneurs, like, we all have it. Like, none of us. Except
no, Diti, you have it.
I have it.
No, I figured, like, I'm right here, but I'm really not. There's like 17 things in my mind. And you're just like, what was that? Yeah.
Squirrel.
Yeah. God, that's freaking hilarious. So I like to learn, like, what does your day look like? Because, I mean, I know I see you on Instagram. I'll call you. I know you're busy. And I'm very mindful now. Before, oh, hell, I would have spammed you. You know what I mean? Like, you're calling me back. Now I get what you're doing. You're building. So I try to stay out of the lane with that. What does your day look like?
So it's funny because I just had this conversation with somebody else recently as well. I used to wake up at like 4:30 in the morning. Jesus. I don't do that shit anymore. I'm not a 4:30. I'm not a 4:30 in the morning person. I don't do good at 4:30. I do good at 5:30, 6. I'm way better at that. Like I know some coach one day told you had to be up at 4:30.
Yeah.
I sucked at it. Dean hated me by noon. Like we were like, I hated it. So 5:30, I'm up normally 5:30, 6 o'clock, coffee. I do my affirmations. I have a morning routine that I kind of go through every morning. I try to spend quality time with the fam for a little bit in the morning, like Xavier, Dean's, like most of my day is set up the day before, but I've learned there are non-negotiables in my schedule.
Gotcha.
And then everything else, there's always a team member issue. There's always going to be something with it, but it has to be in my schedule. Yeah. So every day looks different for me. Yeah. So some days it's podcast, some days it's a Zoom, some days it's 5 trainings back to back. Yeah. But as long as it's in that calendar, that's how I live.
That's awesome.
Like I live off that calendar.
Got it.
But I always take breaks because there are, and I never want to say, and I'll just say this one, I never want to call anything a fire because I don't think so. We had gone recently to Texas to help onboard a team over to Rio. And it was chaos. Like there's 100 people that's onboarding and it's a husband and wife team. Okay. And the husband was just like super chill the whole time. And whenever you go near him, like he was so like his demeanor and everything was so calm. And I'm like, how are you so calm with all this chaos going on?
Everywhere.
Watch. He goes, I used to be a battalion chief for the Fort Worth Fire Department. I know what a real fire looks like.
Oh.
And I was like,
Dang.
Shit. I was like, that is the smartest thing I've ever heard. And I brought it back. And every time that team member comes to me something, I'm like, it's not a real fire. Take a breath.
Yeah.
No one's going to die tomorrow. No one needs to rush into a burning building. Like, calm.
No, but
there's always a
docks
time.
rushed.
You need the docks rushed. Yeah, something needs to close. I get it. But nobody's going to, like, you got to put into perspective, like, what's serious and what's not a lot of times. And it just comes from, like, sometimes it's lack of experience and sometimes from lack of knowing. But I think that's the most important thing with your schedule itself.
That's awesome.
And what my day looks like. There's things that need to get done, but nothing's a fire.
Yeah. So speaking about that, obviously you know how to just have more control over that.
Yeah.
When do you, first of all, what do your affirmations look like? Would you mind sharing them?
Yeah.
And
I
how
can give
often
you-
do you write there? Is it like a Monday through Friday? Is it an everyday thing? Is it every other day?
I do them every day, and some days I do them more than
Perfect.
once. I do them every morning. When I wake up in the morning, I'm like there, and I'm like, all right, let me just say my couple. And sometimes I only do it once. Like, you know what I mean? Sometimes, like when I've got like stuff going on, I'll say it more. Some of them are, affirmations are funny to me too.
Yeah, no.
Because back in the day, somebody told me that I had to have these very intricate, complicated affirmations. And I remember my first one was like, because I had read it somewhere and I was like, I command my conscious and my subconscious mind to control my inner being. And I was like, what?
What the spell am I making?
Know, it doesn't
That's a long
sound.
one.
It doesn't sound like this. So I changed them, and I've changed them. They've changed. My first one was like, I will help 12 families this year get into their forever homes. Now they are. I only surround myself with positive, like-minded, and energetic individuals. So that helps me to make sure that it reminds me not to have those like energy suckers and people that are like, like those
Get 'em away.
people. I am constantly learning.
Nice.
And I'm constantly listening. Easy.
You know?
And then I don't believe in balance, but I'll find harmony in my home life.
Okay.
A harmony is like sometimes work needs you more, sometimes family needs you more, but being able to be flexible like that.
Again, those are the sacrifices you need to make to get to a certain level.
Yep.
In time, you're passing on a legacy to your child.
100%.
You know, to your family. So it's stuff that we have to do. But I like it. Thank you for sharing that. I know one of the things one of mine is I'm capable of living the life that I want to live. Right? Or I have a millionaire mind. Because a lot of times we don't give ourselves enough credit. We think that we can do it. Right? And so, you know, for me, I do those Monday through Friday. I sit down, I do my prayer. I talk to Christian, who my son passed away. Right. And then I do my goal and 2 affirmations. That's my daily thing, Monday through Friday.
Sweet.
You know, and so it keeps me going. It keeps me just grounded of what are the things I can. And so when you said that, it kind of like, all right, cool.
Yeah,
I like that, right?
That's it. Yeah. You got to talk positive.
No,
Yeah.
for me, the ones that I use are going to be a little bit silly, but if my confidence is down, then that kind of brings me down. So I constantly have to be motivating myself to just be like on. And it's silly, but mine are: I'm sharp as a tack, I'm enthusiastic as hell, and I'm a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, you are.
Like
Yeah,
that's
you
literally
are.
it. I tell myself that all the time.
I'm sorry, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm going to tell you, the majority of people don't do shit.
No,
Yeah.
a lot of people don't.
know what I
Like
mean?
I remember when Dean told me to do them when I was first coming in the business, and I looked at him. I was like, "What are you crazy?" He had them written. He had them written on the window, like on our mirror.
Yeah.
So like he would have this paper up there. I'm like, "What are these?" Do you remember that old? You probably don't remember. You remember the old Saturday Night Live one?
Yes.
Where like, do you remember it? Yeah. Where he would be like,
You
"I
don't
am
know.
Yeah,
powerful.
Andy, yeah.
I am wise.
Yeah.
I am strong." And he'd stand in the mirror. That's literally what I thought when I started doing them. Until I started doing them.
I think before, personal development was such a silly thing. Like, you don't need that. Like,
No,
what
you
that?
do.
And then I got into business and started really understanding like who I was, what I liked, what I didn't like. And you're like, yo, this is so important because it's character development.
Yeah.
You understand who you are, and you're like, once you know, you're so confident in what you do, what you can do, that it's like you reflect what you don't like.
Always.
No, thanks for sharing that. I mean, again, I do that because it gets your day started in a positive way. You know, you can, I feel like crap. And then, you know, like, no, you got to write the goal. Like, what's that bullseye you want to hit?
Yeah.
What do you want to be at, right? And
Right.
so those are the things. I mean, we're in the business. Like, you're helping them find the home. We're getting the biggest debt of their lives.
Yep.
Right? And so that's literally what's going on here.
That's
you know?
actually great.
You know, so we got to identify the positive way how to go about this. If we go, and there's a lot of fires that happen in your business, in our business, when they're doing home inspection, when the loan's not closing on time, there's a lot. And you're right. Like, nobody's going to die.
Just chill. We'll figure it out.
Just-
we'll work
yes,
through it.
and that's
if
what-
you haven't dealt with it before, that's what I tell a lot of people too. Because I'm like, if you haven't dealt with it before, somebody else has. We've got great people in our corner that I can make those calls. Like, lean on the people around you. We don't have to do this
I
alone.
like that. Lean. A lot of times we
Lean.
think we're imposing on people.
Never.
And I tell you guys, listen, I'm telling everybody, you're never imposing. People are always so open and available to you. If you just go ask the question.
If
But
you're around the right
I
people.
don't want to
Yeah.
bother them.
With the right people. you
Yes,
are.
with the right people.
With the
Absolutely.
right people, that's why you have to surround yourself with the right individuals who are open for that, who are open to give an hour of their time,
Yeah.
20 minutes of their time. Like, doesn't matter what level you're on, we get
Yeah.
it across the board. You need it.
So we have that. We have the affirmations that you do daily. When do you set up your calendar so that you can go out there and be that badass woman that you are?
So that is ever changing as well, because sometimes it's like I
Yeah.
live off of it. So if it's not in there, I look at the calendar at the beginning of the week, but there's always things that I pop it
Gotcha.
in. So like Sunday nights, Monday mornings, I always check it up. But the night before, I always look to see where I'm at. Like, what do I have going on? What time window of time can I break out here? Can I take
Yeah.
care of this? Because you still have to take care of yourself too. So where can I find that hour in the day to have some like Aphroditi time or Diti time? Like, I need a minute here, and you have to take that little downtime when you get it.
Got
If
it.
you-
Do you plug that into your calendar?
So
Your
Dean,
downtown?
I'm getting better at it, but Dean yells at me all the time because like yesterday was a good day. He was like, "You don't have anything this afternoon. Go." He's like, "Get out of the house. Go do this. Like, go do something." So like, yeah, it's like just taking an hour and a half or 2
yeah.
hours to do something for
Don't pick
yourself.
up your phone for work. Just
Yeah.
put
Don't
that thing on
put
airplane
that thing on
mode.
silent. Go take some time for yourself.
That's awesome.
Dean is really good about it. He's
Yeah.
getting me better at it. Like,
That's good.
as
That's
we're-
awesome.
yeah.
So, if I'm not mistaken, your anniversary was in April, right? Mm-hmm. So, after 12 years...
420.
Oh, wow.
Hello.
Hello.
Way less on booze.
So, I mean, after 12 years of marriage, partnership, how do you guys continue to motivate each other and just take on more and more, like, journeys together?
I love this question. So we are, and we talk about this all the time because we've been together for 20 years almost.
Oh,
We've been together
wow.
because we were, no.
But 12 years married, right?
12 years married.
I count
and
to
we've
20.
been together for, no, don't fact check. You're good. We've been married we've been together for almost, I think it's 18 years. So close
Yeah.
to 20, something like that. So, it is 1000% communication. There's
Yeah.
nothing else that does it. Communication.
Yeah.
And we even talk about it. We talk about our communication.
Yeah.
Because when our communication goes to shit is when you start to get the jabbing or you start to get like the stress and
Yeah.
you start to get these other things. We're both in like stronger positions on the team. We're both kind of alphas. Like Dina's an
That's
alpha.
what I was gonna say.
I'm
Yeah.
an
How
alpha
do you guys
female.
deal with that?
So you get your personalities will clash unless you talk through it. Like sometimes you got to talk through your feelings. Sometimes if he says something, I'm like, bro, like I hate that. Or like
Yeah.
just being comfortable enough to
Yeah.
come to them and talk
Yeah.
through it. But there's the communication, being okay to say stuff might like upset them. Like, hey,
Yeah.
like I have to tell you this is how I feel, even though I know that it may make you feel a different way, but it's got to be okay both ways.
No.
He says things to me sometimes that I'm like, well, shit. But
Yeah.
then I have to look at it and say, okay, now I have to respect how you're feeling and I have to modify whatever I'm doing to make that work. Just like you would have to do that for me.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I like that, of
No,
course.
I
Yeah.
appreciate you sharing that. Like me being in a young relationship, it like helps put perspective, for you guys doing it so long that it's like, oh, there's tough conversations that need to be having. Even if you don't like what they said or they don't like what you said, it still needs to be said.
It still needs to be said. If you hold it in, that's
Yeah.
where all the problems come from. And everybody's gone through that.
Yeah.
Where
Of
you're like,
course.
whenever there's like a riff, because it's always because we're not talking. That's it. So
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing, especially in business and just knowing our roles, like knowing what I do and what he does, especially
lane.
in this business. Like I do this, you do this. Like you are like high level, you work with relationships, I work systems, I work operations, I
Yeah.
work everything beneath. Like you work on training, I work on training. That's the one time that we cross over, but it's great because two different perspectives.
Yeah.
So that's where it comes
That's
as well.
that's awesome. Thank you
Dude,
for
I
sharing
like that. Yeah. Especially you that you need it. You're so young.
Yeah,
2 kids.
just talk.
Hey,
Just talk
notes
to your
from my
wife.
church
No, 100%. Talk to your, if you
Hey,
talk
babe,
to
so
your-
today at the podcast?
dude, show her that and be like 20 years.
Can you
We're
clip
good.
this? Can you clip this for me?
No,
Hey,
she's
that
going
was
to want to clip that.
I know, right? She's going to be like, hey, you remember this?
Yeah.
You remember when Aphrodite said that you should probably talk about stuff I don't like?
Exactly.
Bro, here. Yeah. we're
But
good.
it's
Bring
so
it on,
true.
bring it
It's so
on.
true. I've been together with Tanya for 26 years.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. In the beginning, we had bigger problems because we weren't communicating right. as we
Exactly.
started, and then that's the whole saying, the older the wiser, right?
Yeah.
You start paying attention. And when you're willing to pay attention, that's when you start seeing the changes, the differences, the strengthening of the relationship.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter who it is. It's going to start with your wife, obviously, because they're your best freaking cheerleaders, right?
100%. They're in
So,
your corner. As long as
and
you got the right one, they're in
that's-
your corner. They're going to support
exactly.
you. Like,
And-
that's it. I think,
And then you got Xavier.
and then I get Xavier. I think another thing too, learning how to fight. You got to learn how to fight. You're supposed to fight. Healthy relationships will have an argument here and
Yeah.
there, but you got to learn how.
Yeah.
You got to learn
That's-
how so it doesn't get like too many people don't know how to fight. I talk to people all the
That's
time and
so
I'm
true.
like,
That's so true.
Sometimes people need more time to get over it. Sometimes people need less time to get over it. Like whatever it is, you got to learn how to do that. Once you can learn how to like get through an argument together and know the things you have to do to make it better,
Yeah.
you're good.
I like that.
She's the
I
one that
like
will
that.
take. She'll be mad forever. I'll be like, okay, I'm over it. Like, and then imagine
then
trying to
now
go back.
now
I'm like,
you
oh,
have to
good.
figure
And then
out how to
she's like,
make
oh,
her
man,
better.
yeah.
That's it. That's where it goes back to the communication.
I like
Talk
that.
about it. How like that was another thing for us. We talked about how do you
Yeah.
like to fight? Like,
Yeah.
look, this is how realizing it. Like we fight, and then you're like, whatever. But when you learn how to go through it, and at the end, it's like we both have common goals. We both have common goals. We both have common ideas.
Yeah.
I love him more than anything in the whole wide world.
Yeah,
See?
my boy, dude. You got the right
I was like,
one.
I don't know where you are, but hey.
Yeah.
No, I do. And I'll support him through anything that he ever does because I trust him and I believe in everything that
love
he
that.
does.
That's
Like
beautiful.
we wouldn't be here without him.
That,
Like,
yeah, so true. Or you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I like that. You got to learn to fight. Don't hit below the belt.
No.
You just have to have the right words. And then those are things that you apply in business too.
Yeah.
You learn to apply with the client when you're showing them a home or doing a loan. You got to help them understand,
Yeah.
It's not that it's a fight. It's just, you're not seeing eye to eye. So you have to figure out.
how to communicate with them to tell them, hey, this is what I'm thinking, and this is what this is
Exactly.
This is how we feel about this, or this is how this is going to go down.
Yeah, because sometimes we want to put on what we think is best for them, but they have the best answer for us, but we're just sometimes not listening. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I like that you brought that. That's actually a really, really cool thing.
So when building your team, how do you vet personalities and knowing that you got to put people in the right place? Like, hey, you're a management type person. Hey, you're very good at this marketing type things. How do you structure your team in that way?
So any person that comes on our team, we will hire. We don't hire to production at all. I don't give a shit if you do 50 deals a year. I don't give a shit if you do 100 deals a year. I will
dope.
only hire you if you are. We'll only bring you into the family if you
like
are
that.
open, you are coachable, you are willing to contribute. Like I said, if you've done no deals, you still have contribution.
Nice.
Because you are your authentic self. You are your unique special. So bring your unique special to the team and be yourself during the role plays. Be yourself through these things. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Production means nothing to us. What we look at when putting people into roles. So we have a couple different roles. We have mentors. We have pod leaders, which help with our Zillow program because we have a massive flex program. We have we have a director of agent relations where she does all of our onboarding. We have recruiters. We have a director of fun who just does like in-house fun stuff.
DOF?
DOF, we have these people though who they've all shown that they get it.
Yeah.
And the majority of them have contributed massively or they've understood like where we come from.
Yeah.
Most of them have had some type of effect with us. Like they've seen some type of changes with us and they want to give back. Like I asked my pod leaders recently, somebody asked them and they were like, so many of them were like, I want to give back because so much was given to us in the beginning.
Wow.
So that's it. If I can continue to build that, that's our goal. It's like, how can Dean and I give 100% of ourselves to our people so that they'll do the same thing
I
to
like
everybody.
that.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
You don't make it on our team if
That's
you're not
powerful.
willing to do that.
It's funny because in certain like professional soccer teams, like you can have all the best players and they're gonna have a horrible team.
Right.
And in soccer, the best thing that works is when players have chemistry. And
Yes.
it's chemistry over talent, time
Yeah.
and time again. Like you've had the best players, but you can have decent players, or hardworking people, and outplay or outwork the talent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know the negative that comes from somebody when somebody has that?
Oh, yeah, the
Yeah.
battery
Oh,
acid.
yeah.
And how it will spread.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that battery
It's
acid we call
so
it.
bad. Like I've had to do that a couple of times where we've had amazing team members, and I'm like, oh, like it's not gonna fit.
You start tainting water.
Yeah,
put
you
little
don't want to do
droplets.
that. Like I'll do everything to protect our culture.
Yeah.
It's some of the hardest things I've had to do, but I will protect that culture for
That's awesome.
People have to be willing to come in and be vulnerable. like through role plays and the environment itself, with that will taint it. That will taint all of it. Nobody will be willing to be open. They won't be willing to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
They won't grow. They won't succeed. So we have to always make that. I've had to make some hard decisions in the past, but
I mean, it comes with being, at the position that you're at. You have to make sure that, you guys keep moving forward.
protecting.
All these things you take home anyways, and you don't want to take certain things back home, So you want to say, I had a great day with the great people, I'm off.
I had an amazing day with people that I love. Like, I'm so excited for their success. Like, I watch them. I want to cheer them on as much as I can. Yeah, that's it.
So over the last couple of years, the market has changed, from 2021, 2022, and, forward.
Yeah.
What do you foresee happening, and what advice do you give to agents that are struggling to get their production up from past years that, they might have been producing a lot, and now they're like, yo, where the leads go?
Call me. We're busy.
Yeah.
Call me. Call me.
Hey, there's
Hi.
you.
Call me. Come in. As long as you're not a douchebag, call me.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
There you go. Why not? Right?
No.
Yeah.
I think it's you have to pivot. I don't know what's going to happen in August. August is going to be a weird one for all of us. We've been coaching to it. We've been training to it. It is a different, every Starbucks barista came out and got their license in 2020, 21, 22, because it was so freaking busy.
Yeah.
Hand over fist. It was hard because you couldn't get anything accepted, but everybody was out there with clients.
Yeah.
Is it harder now? Yeah. It's definitely going to be harder, but it's working on that skill set constantly.
Yeah.
You constantly have to work on what you're doing. Are you constantly role playing? Are you listening to what's happening in the market? Are you listening to the consumers?
Yeah.
If you're not on a team, are you doing open houses and listening to what the buyers are saying out there? I don't care if you're a listing agent.
Yeah.
So many, I don't know if I really love the.
Yeah.
I work with buyers. I work with listings. I think you should always
have a
be
good
multifaceted.
balance.
Yeah, you should always be multifaceted because you're going to lose contact with them. But knowing what's going on out there and then working on that skill set with the right people.
Yeah.
So good.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's the only way you're going to survive.
And the third one, call Diti if those don't work.
And then the third one, call me if you need anything.
We're available.
Yes.
It's so true because the market does. It does shift the way the mindset works and everything. You're so used to, during certain things. I know that happened to me. 2023 was a very rough year for me.
Yeah.
Because I was so used to, for the last 10, 12 years, my production was always pretty much the same, And then going 23 is like, well, how do I go from closing 130 transactions to 30? What the heck happened here?
Yeah. And that's a tough one too, because you've got to look for these things. You got to see these things coming and you have to adjust and you have to pivot. Dude, if you have a big paycheck, don't go buy a Ferrari.
Exactly.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't be dumb. Be smart with your money.
Exactly.
You guys know,
Yeah.
I drove that GMC Terrain. I was rocking 45, 50 deals a year, rocking my 2015 Terrain.
I got a Terrain.
Bro, I love that bad boy. I was going to $5 million houses. I didn't get a luxury until I was in the business for 6 years.
Yeah. Nice.
I drove that thing into the ground. I drove her to the ground.
Yeah.
I went everywhere in that thing.
So true.
Off-roading in Ramona, all the way to the border in San Isidro. I went up to Fallbrook 30 times in that bad boy, and I went everywhere in her. But I rocked it. Don't flash.
Yeah.
Don't make that mistake.
Yeah.
Too many people make it, and then now
Yeah.
you're stuck because if the market goes any which
Oh,
way,
yeah.
You're dependent on that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And take that money, invest it. When your investments start paying you, then you buy your stuff.
Exactly. I like that. And that's one thing Dean and I can't relate. We went through the mortgage meltdown.
100%.
So we understand that.
Dude,
So
we
we already
lost-
know when we start seeing things slow down, you got to start trimming certain things. Because most of the time when you're doing good, it's more of a want.
Yeah.
There's never really a real desire for need. You know what I mean?
It's just a want.
You
Yeah.
don't need a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
Nobody
When
needs
do you
your-
need one? I
You
wanna
don't
know,
need a
what-
Ferrari. You don't need a Lambo.
No, exactly.
Don't be that guy.
I would like to know in what situation you need one.
Yeah.
I mean,
Diti, so somebody coming in these challenging moments, with the lack of supply of homes in San Diego. San Diego is considered to be one of the toughest states,
Right.
As far as it goes with supply and demand and all that stuff. What would you recommend a new Diti coming into the industry?
align yourself with the right people. There's no hands about it. No, don't try to learn on your own. Don't try to recreate the wheel.
Okay.
It's already been done. But align yourself with the right people. If it's not a team, with the right environment, where people are learning and willing to give. But that's aligning yourself with the right people.
I like that. It's so true. There you go. Well, there you have it, you boys, girls. This is awesome. Again, I can't thank you enough for you to take the time. I know you're super slam busy, and your probably phone's going up. But
I'm
good
sure
thing
it's
we
over
put
there
that
crazy,
thing.
but it's fine.
Good thing we put that upstairs.
Not a real fire.
Yeah, it's not a real fire. It's fine. I got my time.
But no, it's been great. Is there any questions that you feel we should have asked you that we didn't ask?
You
No?
did great.
Awesome.
You did really good.
Or anything you want to just highlight, and just kind of,
The hubby,
let it be
you
known.
know,
No,
damn,
he's
Dean.
good. I already said I loved him
That's my
twice on
boy,
here,
yeah.
so we're good.
That's enough love.
Hey, I love you too,
We
Dean.
love you.
We love you, all right? No, this has been great. And, again, thank you so much for sharing all this insightful knowledge, wisdom, experience that you've gone through. I think it's so powerful to people to just understand. Listen, it's not easy to get into anything that you do. It's going to take learning. It's going to take being open, being there as a student, right? You
Yep.
have to be a student. You can't go in there. I already know that. I skip that. Like, you really have to be open, participate, and best of all, take freaking action.
Take action.
A
That's
lot of
it.
times we're just dumbified by all these books that we read.
Oh, it's really funny you say that because I'm like, take it down. Like, you don't have to be learning every single second. You need time.
Yeah, you need
I
to
like
invest.
that.
Take a minute. You don't have to read self-help books all the time. I stopped reading self-help books and my life is so much better.
Same. I was kind of like, I got what I needed.
I got it.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
don't even read the whole thing. You read like half of it, and then
Right.
you're
Oh, that
like,
hits. Okay, that
that
makes
hits. I
sense.
got it.
Yeah.
No.
So, Diti, for people that, want to reach out to you, want to connect with you, or for agents that want to reach out to you, get more information about, what you spoke about, where
Yeah.
can they reach out to you? What are your Twitter, your Instagram, your online?
Yeah, Instagram at Aphroditi Aguilar. That's the easiest way. Or
Perfect.
you can always call me, 619-964-7717. Or just hit us up through the DAG profile. Any of
Awesome.
them. We're always there. If anyone needs any help, like I'm
Yeah.
always an open
Yeah.
book. Like if you want to know how we did it, I'll show it to you.
Perfect.
You want the playbook? I'll open it up for you. The
Like
more
that.
people that we can make better, the better this industry is going to be.
Hell yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Diti, thank you so much for stopping
Yeah.
by. We
Thanks.
really appreciate
Oh my God.
your presence, and we hope to get you back.
Yeah.
back.
Yeah,
I'll be back.
I know there's bigger things that you guys are going to do. So the next one, we got to get our boy in here.
We'll get
you
Dean
know?
in.
We'll get the couple in.
We'll
Yeah.
get Dean in.
But again, Diti, thank you. We can't express how grateful and honored we are to have you here on
You're so
Mortgage
sweet. I
Heroes.
love you guys.
Appreciate it,
Thanks.
guys.
Yeah, love you
Later.
guys.
Thank you.